connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, it is 6 a.m. Good Morning Idaho with you to get your day started. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris, and boy, this is the time to go outside and enjoy the weather because it's relatively cool. We're going to tell you about the hot temperatures coming up. Also, our team of neighborhood reporters this morning has a new story from our Riley Shoemaker, monitoring a tense school board meeting that ran past midnight, in fact. And she's bringing us that Bruno Elementary is going to stay open for now, at least. We'll have more on that. Plus, another allegation of racism within the West Ada School District, this time at Eagle High School, where the family of a 17-year-old girl has filed a $1 million tort claim. We've got all that and much more coming up, but first let's get the latest on our weather. It starts you off with Sophia Cruz. This is the time to go out and take a walk. You can also see, I don't think it was a full moon, but it was a really pretty moon this morning.
Yeah, pretty moon this morning, so if you got out early or you're heading out for your early morning steps, it's nice and cool and enjoy it because our morning times are now the things to get those times to get those things done, especially because our afternoons, they get pretty hot. Waking you up and showing you Boise Basin this morning. It's a quiet start here if you're heading out for that early morning trail hike. Nice and cool temperatures across the area right now. While it feels good outside, they are pretty warm for what we normally see in the morning. You've got mid 60s along your valley floor, 73 right now into Ontario, 64 waking up in Pine. By the afternoon, it will be another hot one for us, but we are out of the triple digits for today. You will notice, though, we have a red flag warning in place from 3 o'clock through midnight. This is because of lightning and some dry thunderstorms that we'll see this afternoon. So I have all the details you need to know coming up. Roland?
Oh boy, watch out for that dry lightning. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. Turning now to the news on this Wednesday morning, and we start with the search for Travis Decker, the man police say murdered his 3 young daughters. Our Dawn Nelson spoke with a Caldwell woman who says she may have been the first person to see Decker in Idaho.
Jennifer Rice just left Gentry's outpost in Idaho City on June 18th when she spotted something she thought was unusual.
Practically walking up to that center was just a random gentleman, but he caught my eye because he seemed out of place.
Why did he catch your eye, and why did he seem out of place?
He had a bedding roll that you would sleep on, but there was no sleeping bag. And so I thought, well, what is he going to do with that? And his backpack wasn't big enough to have been stuffed with a sleeping bag. And so it just didn't make sense. Are you sleeping or are you not sleeping?
Rice had heard of the story of Travis Decker, a suspect wanted for the homicide and kidnapping of his 3 daughters, who were 5, 8, and 9 years old in Washington state in June. So she first called authorities in Washington.
They listened to me, but that didn't seem to, if I remember correctly, the comment was, we know where he is and we know what's happening, but we'll write this down.
Rice was frustrated. Even her husband doubted anyone could make it from central Washington to Idaho City without being seen. Fast forward to late last night, Monday, July 7th. Rice got up to let her dog outside, looked at her phone, and saw the reports that Decker may have been seen in the Sawtooth National Forest.
They saw him in Idaho?
Tuesday morning, she sent Idaho News 6 an email. I asked her to come by because I wanted to hear her story. I then sent an email to the U.S. Marshal's office asking if they were still interested in tips on their 1-800 number. Moments before she arrived, this happened.
But then I didn't hear anything, and I was coming to talk to you, and my phone rang on the way over here, and a gal from the U.S. Marshal's office, she wanted to get more information. So I got excited after she told me who she was, and I was like, hold on, I've got to pull over, because I was just so happy someone was listening.
And what did she say specifically, how credible your information was? What did she say?
Well, she let me tell my whole story, and then she said, wow, that's pretty good. This is probably the most detail we've received so far.
Another allegation of racism within the West Ada School District. A Hispanic student and her family have filed a $1 million tort claim against the district, alleging the varsity girls basketball coach at Eagle High School racially discriminated against 17-year-old Brooke Vargas. They assert that head coach Jeremy Monroe and his staff gave preferential treatment to the white players and held Vargas to an unfair standard during the 2024-25 season. They also say that coaches made several racist comments toward Brooke at practice practices unfairly reduced her playing time, which they say resulted in the loss of scholarship opportunities. The Vargas family originally took their concerns to West Ada, and after an internal investigation, the district concluded there was not enough evidence to support the family's claims. Jeremy Monroe is still currently the head coach at Eagle High. After years of back and forth and even a setback at the Idaho Supreme Court, Interfaith Sanctuary has the green light to build its new 24-hour homeless shelter on State Street. Boise City Planning and Zoning granting a revised conditional use permit at an 8.5-hour meeting on Monday night. According to reporting by Boise Dev, a beefed-up security plan and stricter operations plans are among the biggest changes. As we've reported, the decision comes after years of public pushback from neighbors. And you may recall the original permit was denied by Planning and Zoning before it was approved by City Council and then subsequently tossed by the Idaho Supreme Court. Construction continues with hopes of a ribbon cutting in October, but the shelter still needs about $5 million to finish the project.
Bruno Elementary is staying open for now. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker here at Rimrock Junior Senior High, where district leaders say they'll spend the next year working on a long-term plan for the school's future. A crowd of nearly 50 packed into the Bruno Grandview District's school board meeting with parents and residents who say the small school of Bruno Elementary is the heart of their town.
When you have a school room full of about 50 people, you better start paying attention to what your patrons want, and you know that there is a problem.
Sherry Collier would know. She sat on the district school board for 9 years in the 1990s. After weeks of uncertainty, the board decided to keep Bruno Elementary open for the 2025 to 2026 school year, but only if staff can be secured. They also voted to close the school the following year, unless voters choose to keep it open in a November 2025 election.
A big change for the Bruno community is transportation. Grandview is 20 miles from Bruno. That's school to school, so some of those kids would be traveling maybe another 6-8 miles. It's a big hardship on the families that have little kids, especially. This is the youngest of our students.
The roughly 28 students currently enrolled at Bruno would be transferred to Grandview Elementary. A change many say violates the spirit of a levy passed last year.
We look at it as a little bit of a bait and switch, that you got the levy passed and now you're going to still take the money but close the school.
Adding to the frustration, some say they never received a community survey the district says guided decisions made.
Communication has been terrible. They did a survey, randomly posted it on their website, and did not distribute it at all through social media.
Superintendent Jeff Blazer said the goal was to act early, not react under pressure.
We feel that it is in the best interest of students, staff, families, and communities to make a transition in a manner that is planned with thoughtful intent rather than forced, if possible.
Now the school will stay open another year, but the district's long-term plans still leave families uneasy.
If they stick to their guns and say Bruno's closing, I think the Bruno parents will have a mass exodus to other schools.
We'll have more on the future of Bruno Elementary on this story on IdahoNews6.com. I'm neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker, Idaho News 6.
School resource officers are set to return to the Caldwell School District after a year of relying on a private security firm for student safety. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis, and I've been following the district's ongoing efforts to make student safety a top priority. Caldwell City Council has approved the return of school resource officers to district school grounds. The decision comes after the district received federal funding through the state for one officer. The recent approval of an $8.2 million supplemental levy, which will fund the addition of a second officer. However, the district says their primary goal was to bring school resource officers, SROs, back to work in coordination with the private security firm Eagle Eye. This year's contract will cost more than $90,000 per officer. That price will increase by nearly $10,000 each school year, which the district tells me they have budgeted for. But the district has also made staff cuts due to decrease in state funding.
There was some change in the state budget allocation to schools. And then just recently we've been informed that we should anticipate a 6% reduction in that allocation.
In addition, the district did not anticipate a federal freeze that has left them with additional unanswered questions.
We're in the midst of determining next steps.
We are planning, if we do have federal funding, to have Eagle Eye Security in our schools for them to work together with the Caldwell Police Department.
As of now, the district's plan is to have one officer serving Caldwell High School, while another will split time between Canyon Springs High School and Sangria Middle School. The security officers will cover the rest of the district schools, but the district says now the waiting game continues. I'll continue to follow this story as the district works to maintain both school resource officers and security staff, all in an effort to ensure student safety. I'm your Caldwell neighborhood reporter Leslie Solis for Idaho News 6.
After the break, we bring you an update on the deadly flooding in Texas with more than 170 people still believed to be missing. Questions remain on why the region was not better prepared. Hey everybody, it's 13 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday. Let's take a look now at your national headlines this morning. Nearly 20 years after airline passengers were first required to remove their shoes for security because of the shoe bomber, remember him, Richard Reed? Well, the policy is now being phased out. Homeland Security is saying the policy change is thanks to new scanners and technology, the enforcement of real ID, and more officers as security checkpoints. Some, though, questioning now whether more rules should be relaxed. And Homeland Security has said that they are evaluating the rules surrounding liquids and requirements on removing belts and coats. New changes and regulations for visas for international students now require social media screenings on all candidates who apply. All applicants need to make their social media accounts public so activities can be reviewed. According to the State Department website, they will be vetting to identify visa applicants who are inadmissible to the United States, including those who pose a threat to U.S. national security. Just this past spring, more than 1,800 international students had their visas revoked. And this morning, growing concerns after federal officials say an imposter used artificial intelligence to pose as Secretary of State Marco Rubio. A State Department memo says the fake Marco Rubio sent text messages and voicemails to 3 foreign leaders, a U.S. governor and a member of Congress. The voice messages mimicked Rubio's voice and the text messages written in his writing style. Officials say the imposter was trying to gain access to information or accounts and that it's unclear who was behind the scheme, but says there was no direct attack on its systems. Turning now to the flooding in central Texas. The death toll has climbed, I should say, to 110 now this morning. And officials say far more people are missing than they originally thought. And amid questions about what went wrong, Texas Governor Abbott says an investigation will happen, but anyone pointing fingers right now is a loser. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the latest.
This morning, the race to find those missing in the Texas Hill Country enters its 6th day, with a steeper mountain to climb than originally thought. Officials say more than 170 people are still unaccounted for, more than 3 times higher than previously stated.
We will not stop until every missing person is accounted for.
Texas Governor Abbott believes the surge in the number of people missing is largely due to the holiday weekend, people staying in the area without registering at a camp or a hotel. And several family members, like Thad Hartfield, have taken it upon themselves to join the search efforts.
I'm just doing what a parent would do. Nothing else matters right now than to take this effort to find, my son and these other kids.
His 22-year-old son, Aiden, and a few of his friends and girlfriend were staying in Thad's second home on the 4th of July in Kerr County. And this morning, new questions about why the region wasn't better prepared. Public meeting records show Kerrville discussed installing a flood warning system as early as August 2016. And records obtained by ABC News also show how just 2 days before the flood, state officials signed off on emergency plans for Camp Mystic, where a number of children are still missing. When asked about whether he's placing blame on anyone, Abbott acknowledged an investigation will happen, adding this.
Who's to blame? Know this. That's the word choice of losers. The way winners talk is not to point fingers.
There are also questions about the future of FEMA after President Trump vowed to overhaul or even phase it out entirely. The agency immediately responded to the Texas floods, and Trump has since avoided discussing whether he has changed his plans for FEMA. Homeland Security Secretary Noem, who oversees FEMA, claims the administration is streamlining its response without offering specifics. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
If you'd like to help support the victims of this terrible tragedy, Scripps News and the Scripps Howard Fund are teaming up to provide relief. It's easy to make a difference. Just text flooding to 50155 or scan the QR code on your screen. All funds will go directly to communities in need.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's 19 minutes past the hour. It's going to be another hot one. I mean, this is great weather for floating the Boise River. I know it's cold when you get into the water, but when it's this hot, it's perfect.
Yeah, when it's this hot, it's perfect if you're by a body of water, and if you're not, then it's perfect if you're in your freezer. So anything inside, I think, is going to really benefit you, especially as the afternoons warm up. And something you should get used to saying is that it's going to be hot, but not as hot today. Now, as across the area, and you'll take a look and just really notice this, even across the region, we're looking at a warmer than normal temperature outlook for next week. This means we have a good chance of seeing above average temperatures as we did yesterday. Temperatures in Boise got upwards towards 104. Now today, it's not as hot, so that's some good news already, but mid to upper 90s still. Gonna be a toasty one. You've got 87 heading out to Stanley, Fairfield, sitting about that lower 90 mark. Tomorrow will be a lot better, and again, it is still gonna be pretty warm, but you've got those upper 80s, lower 90s. If you're in our mountains, it'll even feel really good up there. Mid 70s, lower 80s. So that's gonna be the spot to be over the next couple days, especially as things start to heat up on our valley floors. We did see the hottest day of the week yesterday, so that's now in our rear view, but the southerly flow that we're looking at is aiding and bringing in all of those hotter temperatures that we're getting into our afternoons. Right behind that, we have this short weak trough moving inland. As this does, this will bring on some chances for isolated storms into the afternoon. We do have a chance for seeing some severe weather, so this is a low end risk. Where you see all this area in this dark green, that's a marginal risk. So again, level 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. That lighter green is a chance for some thunderstorms. Now, the reason they are severe winds is because you could, if you get caught in one of them, get caught in gusty winds upwards towards 16 miles per hour. So also go ahead, secure any loose items you may have outdoors. It's not going to be widespread impact. We start off the day pretty quiet and calm. Into the evening, we'll see a few showers bubble up in eastern Oregon and into our near our friends in Salmon. Remains pretty quiet and calm throughout the majority of the day. By the late evening, a few showers pass through the Treasure Valley overnight. And then tomorrow afternoon, you're going to think it feels great because we're going to be sitting in those upper 80s, nice clear skies. If you have any outdoor plans, this is going to be the day for it. Taking a look at the week ahead, you'll notice that we don't get that relief again until Thursday. So you've got upper 80s into tomorrow afternoon. Mid 90s follow us back into our weekend, and then by next week, we'll be hovering near the triple digits Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Just remember to stay cool, stay hydrated, and make sure you're taking shade breaks if you're working outside.
We are in the dog days of summer with temperatures in Jim County hitting triple digits. I'm your M&A reporter Alexander Huddleston, showing you ways how to stay cool and safe in these extremely hot days. Temperatures are rising, but that can't stop you from doing your daily tasks. However, Matt Condi with AAA says we need to think twice before running to the store with our kids or pets.
There's no such thing as a quick errand. There is no good reason to leave a child in a car ever, or a pet for that matter. In 10 minutes or less, a car's internal temperature can go up by 20 degrees or more. That's even if the windows are cracked, that's even if it's in the shade.
Even outside the car, the sun will still beat down on you. I talked with Deputy Chief of Jim County EMS, Lynn McCullough, about some of the warning signs that we can look for in others when the heat intensifies.
So one of the first things that happens is heat cramps. You'll notice that as your body loses the salt in the muscles, they will start to cramp up. They'll start to feel tiredness, weakness. Cramps then becomes heat exhaustion. You become tired. You may have periods of unconsciousness, nausea, vomiting, that kind of thing. You should call 911 at that point. And then the last one is heat stroke. Heat stroke is severe. The body loses its ability to sweat and cool itself down, and it can become a true emergency.
Deputy Chief McCullough explained that if you see a child or pet trapped in a car, to immediately call 911 to get rescue on the way. He also suggested to stay hydrated and go places where you can cool off, like an air-conditioned room or a place like Emmett's splash pad.
This thing's awesome. We usually have this little pool set up in the backyard, but it's been so hot that it's more like a jacuzzi right now. So we decided to come to the splash pad and cool off with the fresh water.
Now remember, even if you get out of the car for just a quick errand, make sure you get everyone out of the car with you. I'm your M&A reporter Alexander Huddleston for Idaho News 6.
When we get back, it's Wellness Wednesday, and a new study indicates that many who are eligible for medication to lower cholesterol aren't actually taking it. Why? After the break.
Every year in the U.S., about 805,000 people have a heart attack, and more than 795,000 men and women have a stroke. But there are medications to reduce the risk of both.
Despite the benefits of these treatments for high cholesterol, they're underutilized.
Dr. Caleb Alexander with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is lead author of a study that analyzed 5,000 U.S. adults. About half of those studied were eligible to take medication to lower cholesterol, but only about 23% of the patients who had never had a major cardiovascular event were taking the medicine to reduce risk of one. And of those who have had a major event, only about 68% were taking the medication.
These treatments include statins, which many people may be familiar with. These drugs are safe and effective and have been on the market for many, many years, but they're also newer treatments.
Alexander says there are many reasons people aren't taking cholesterol-lowering medication. Many are undiagnosed and skip yearly checkups so they don't know they have high cholesterol. Others may not feel they need treatment or are unable to afford it, and others don't remember to take the medicine consistently.
Tens of thousands of heart attacks and tens of thousands of strokes could be prevented each year if people were receiving treatment for high cholesterol that's in accordance with the best expert guidelines.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us this morning on Good Morning Idaho. We're into our last half hour in just a moment, and here's what's still to come from your neighborhood reporters.
In South Boise, I'll tell you about the future of this empty lot off 5 Mile Road and Lake Hazel.
Nampa Centennial Golf Course is ready to tee off on the next round of exciting upgrades.
Now we'll look outside from the Treasure Valley Chevy Dealers Tower Cam.
Connecting neighborhoods across the Treasure and Magic Valleys, telling stories from within our communities. This is Good Morning Idaho.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. Into our last half hour on this Wednesday morning. I'm senior reporter Roland Barris. Hope you're off to a great start, everyone. It's going to be a hot one once again. Get ready for that. We've got lots to get to this morning from our large team of neighborhood reporters. Coming up in just a bit, our Keith Burrell breaks down the details of the $5 million irrigation renovation at Nampa's Centennial Golf Course and who's going to pay for all that. Also, our Joey Martin highlighting the Twin Falls Animal Shelter, where they are now dropping the adoption fees for the next couple of weeks, in fact, in an effort to combat overcrowding. More on that coming up in just a bit, but first let's bring in Sophia Cruz with the latest on our weather. Yesterday, tying a record. Good grief.
Yes, we tied a daily record at 104. It doesn't even sound nice to say, and if you thought it was hot yesterday, well, it was. Now, today, it's still going to be pretty hot out there. I feel like a lot of our week has been, it's going to be hot, just not as hot as yesterday. Anyways, to kick off your morning, it is 60s here in Twin Falls. Nice clear skies waking up here this morning. So we continue to take a look across the area. Pretty nice and cool throughout it. Mid 60s to upper 60s as you head into Mountain Home. 39 right now waking up in Stanley, and as we continue into the afternoon, plenty of sunshine, so that's not really the problem. It's just the heat. You've got temperatures sitting in those lower 90s by 2 o'clock. We'll see a chance for some dry thunderstorms, which of course can bring on that risk for some wildfires this afternoon. Roland.
Yeah, we're going to have to keep a close eye on that. Thanks, Sophia. Appreciate it. And now turning to the news in South Boise, where growth continues to be the theme these days. What else, right? Our Brady Caskey shares community input as well as the developers' early plans.
The future of this empty lot in South Boise may be full of commercial businesses. I'm your South Boise neighborhood reporter Brady Caskey, talking to the developer and neighbors at a neighborhood meeting about what they want to see built on this lot at 5 Mile Road in Lake Hazel. A big turnout of neighbors Tuesday evening at a community meeting about the future of this empty lot.
This is like my daughter would have said opening Christmas presents, this is what I always wanted.
Carlos Vidales has been very outspoken about what he wants to see developed in the area near his home.
We simply want to have businesses there. It's always been set up for businesses. We want businesses.
You may remember him from a story last year when we previously reported that this same lot was up for rezoning to mixed use to include 118 residential units alongside some commercial space. That proposal was denied by the Ada County Commissioners.
Hey, I get it. We need more houses in Boise. But if you don't build the businesses, the homes don't have any place to go to the shopping.
Carlos envisions businesses like a hardware store, more local restaurants, and even something like a Trader Joe's to make the area more well-rounded.
This is not quite a complete desert for businesses, but we are highly underserved. If you go to the area like Overland or Fairview, they have, I kid you not, 10 times as many businesses for the same population than we do here.
Rocky Mountain Companies is the future developer of this land. They hosted the community meeting as part of the permitting process in Ada County. I spoke with the company's president, Ben Zamzow, after the meeting. He declined an on-camera interview, but did say that they are looking forward to bringing more commercial businesses to this underserved part of town.
I think this is a big step forward in developing this area. Frankly, the best news I heard tonight is that they're closing tomorrow.
Rocky Mountain Companies plans to move forward with the permitting process and hopes to see businesses open in the area come fall of 2027. Reporting in South Boise, I'm Brady Caskey for Idaho News 6.
There and back again. Capital City Market is returning to its iconic downtown location on Grove Street. Organizers responding to longtime shoppers and vendors who told them the new location off Myrtle Street lacked the magic of the original. And they're moving quickly. The market returns to downtown this Saturday, July 12th. More roadwork on Highway 55 to tell you about, this time near Marsing. From now through August, drivers can expect lane restrictions between the Idaho-Oregon-Nevada junction and Hoskins Road. ITD will be seal coating that roadway to protect and preserve it. Crews will work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and you can expect delays, lower speeds, and width restrictions. As we've reported before, similar work is underway now on Highway 55 from Horseshoe Bend to Banks.
The city of Nampa continues to invest in its golf courses, this time by upgrading and replacing its irrigation system aimed at reducing dry spots like this. I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell, and the announcement of the 2026 project is the latest in tackling deferred maintenance.
This is mission critical for a golf course. This is the lifeblood of a golf course, keeping turf in conditions that people want to play. It's important for golfers. They remember what golf conditions are at a golf course and the courses they've played.
A new $5 million irrigation project is the latest in efforts to address deferred maintenance at Centennial Golf Course. I previously reported that the city owned 500 acres of links, and the 36 holes over those two courses have been financially self-sustaining. While work is being completed next year, the course's new spare green will serve as an additional hole while irrigation work is completed and hole closures are in effect.
So one thing that Tony's done is listen to the golfers, and like, for example, the parking lot that we just recently rebuilt and expanded the size of was a real sore spot for golfers.
Golf manager Tony Blasius has been with the city since the city's purchase of the golf courses in 2023 and has prioritized projects. The $5 million price tag is being paid for by greens fees. The current, nearly 4-decade-old system is in need of constant repairs, which is something course superintendents are forced to constantly monitor.
They always look at it, but they're really evaluating how things are going after about 15 or 20 years. And you will see golf courses redo their irrigation systems starting after that. 38 years for Centennial. So, they did a great job putting the irrigation system in initially, but things have changed as far as technology, materials.
Centennial and Ridgecrest golf courses water their fairways and greens using water from the Phyllis Canal while also maintaining wells to water before and after irrigation water is available. And Cody tells me that the project will be put out to bid in the next couple months, with work to begin in spring of 2026 as early as February, depending on the weather. From Nampa, I'm your Nampa neighborhood reporter Keith Burrell for Idaho News 6.
Idaho Power is warning its customers of an uptick in scams. The utility says scammers are spoofing its number to make calls appear like they're coming from the company. And they're even walking door to door to trick customers into giving them money. Here's what you need to know. Idaho Power will never demand payment over the phone or through prepaid gift cards like Visa or Green Dot Money Pack. They'll also never ask you to pay using Bitcoin or using a QR code. And if Idaho Power crews do need to access your property, they will arrive in a logoed company vehicle with proper uniforms and badges. If you are ever unsure about a call or visit, call Idaho Power Customer Service immediately. All right, everybody, it is 6:39, live picture outside. Gorgeous out this morning. Let's take a look at what's happening in your neighborhood today. The Neighborhood Concert Series is at Memorial Park in Boise today. The free summer music series going on all summer long. Kicks off at 5 p.m. today with food trucks and drinks provided by Lost Grove Brewing. The band's playing tonight: Dragonfly Time, Problematic, and Charlie and the Changelings. Check it out. And more free live music in Boise, live after 5 this evening at the Grove Plaza. Tonight's headliners: Mitchum Yakub with an opener from Lobo Laura. This year marks the event's 38th anniversary. Great place to hang out after work, featuring fresh talent every Wednesday through July. Again, the show is totally free and will run from 5 to 8 p.m. And in Nampa, the 3rd Street Market up and running today. Food trucks, vendors, and free fun for the whole family. It runs every 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month at the Nampa Civic Center's Calliope Garden from 4:30 to 8:30 p.m.
In Twin Falls, in response to some overcrowding, the Twin Falls Animal Shelter is waiving their adoption fees. Over the 4th of July weekend, the Twin Falls Animal Shelter saw over 20 new dogs, stretching the shelter's capacity. Now, with numbers that high, the shelter has decided to waive adoption fees for the next 2 weeks. I'm your Twin Falls neighborhood reporter, Joey Martin, finding out more on how to give these animals a forever home.
When you're at 80% of your kennel space is full, we're at 100 and 110%.
Debbie Blackwood is the director of the People for Pets Twin Falls Animal Shelter. She says thanks to the Bissell Corporation's Empty the Shelter program, you can help clear out these kennels and get a new best friend at the same time. And the best part? No charge.
Just lovely to have that support. So for every animal we adopt, they send us maybe not the whole fee, but partial fee.
But Blackwood says money is not the main goal. It's getting these animals into a loving family. Karen Ahrens is from Jerome and recently lost her beloved dog. She heard about Empty the Shelter and knew it was time to adopt.
We've always had 2 dogs, and I'm going to cry because we just lost one, and when we need to replace it for the other dog we have, she's very lonely. Just because we think dogs need love, and so we try to find one that is in need of love.
In steps April.
Right now she's April because they don't really know her name, and I don't know what we'll call her.
Before the adoption is official, Karen is taking advantage of the shelter's 2-week home trial.
With dogs, you can take it home and see if it meshes with what you saw at the shelter and how they are at your home and stuff like that. And we like you to give them the full 2 weeks because these pets don't know where they're at.
But for Karen in April, it's a match made in heaven, even without those waived adoption fees.
It's great. We'd pay for her whatever if it took, but free's all right too.
You have until July 18th to take advantage of Empty the Shelter. For more information, log on to our website at idahonews6.com. Reporting in Twin Falls, I'm your neighborhood reporter, Joey Martin, Idaho News 6.
Hey, Twin Falls, if you're taking your dog out for a walk, the morning time is going to be the best time to do it while it's nice and cool this afternoon. You'll continue to see a warm one. I'll show you how we could possibly see a risk for wildfires coming up.
Power lines crisscrossing the dry sagebrush desert of northern Jerome County almost guarantees a future of energy production and transmission in the area. But what could that look like?
I'm your Jerome neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton. At the Midpoint substation, a new company is talking about building nuclear power generation here in the same area that the stalled Lava Ridge Wind Energy Project was planned for.
Everyone is talking about there's going to be a need for the electricity in the not too distant future.
Dan Adamson from Sawtooth Energy Development Corporation told me of the vision to site small nuclear power generators in Jerome County.
They produce 77 megawatts of power. Our intention is to put 6 of them in. And with that, we'll be producing 462 megawatts of power. That's about enough power to provide electricity to 400,000 homes.
Energy interests in the Magic Valley have skyrocketed in recent years, with proposals for wind and solar development on public lands. A big part of that interest is the power transmission lines that intersect in Jerome County at the Midpoint substation. From here, energy could be delivered across the western U.S. into Oregon, Wyoming, Nevada, and California. Adamson says a full build-out of 6 small modular reactors would sit on about 40 acres and generate 462 megawatts. The company is holding 4 public meetings beginning July 21st. 3 will be in Jerome at the courthouse, and 1 will be in Shoshone.
We'll have the full schedule for the upcoming public meetings connected to this story on our website, idahonews6.com. I'm your Jerome neighborhood reporter Lori in Nettleton for Idaho News 6.
Sophia Cruz with the Idaho News 6 forecast.
Hey, it was beautiful coming into work this morning. I love it. This is the one thing this time of year that you can say our shift is actually nice because you come in, it's nice and cool.
Yeah, that's the best part. But it's not so nice on the weekends when I'm trying to sleep in and I wake up at 5 and I think I'm late for work.
True.
But it's the weekend and it also just gets really bright out early now. Now, yesterday afternoon, if you thought it was hot, it was. We tied for our daily record. Yesterday, Boise hit 104, so very extreme heat we saw yesterday afternoon. If you thought we were in an armpit, it felt quite like that. But again, today we are looking at some slight relief, and really emphasis on the slight here because taking a look at our temperatures, you still have triple digits in Glenns Ferry, upper 90s into Ontario, mid to upper 80s in those mountains, so going to be a little bit cooler off there. And as we get ready for tomorrow, this is going to be the best day of the week. You'll notice temperatures get some nice relief into those upper 80s, still some 90s on here, 91 into Ontario, 91 in Glenns Ferry. And if you're in our mountains, it's going to be a fabulous afternoon tomorrow, lower 80s. It's gonna be really nice and comfortable. I'm kind of jealous of you guys up there. Now, what's been really aiding in this big hot and dry weather pattern is their southerly flow aloft, so that's bringing in all that hot, dry air. But right behind that, and what's gonna really set off these changes, there's this weak shortwave trough coming through the area. This will bubble up some chances for us to see some isolated storms this afternoon and dry ones at that. But because they are dry and isolated storms, we'll have a chance for some wildfires and really that increasing threat for wildfires this afternoon. These storms that coming in are on the low end risk for severe weather. So this is a 1 out of 5. So where you see all this area in dark green, that's where we could possibly see that marginal risk. So again, very low end chance for severe weather, but the main threat will be gusty winds, potentially upwards towards 60 miles per hour. So it is damaging winds. So if you have anything loose outside, go ahead, bring it in and just secure it in place if it is something you want to keep out there. It's pretty quiet morning to start. You're not noticing very much change until the late evening. By 6 o'clock, we'll see chances of isolated storms bubble up in the area. It'll move through overnight across our east and west central mountains. And then tomorrow, that's going to be the best day of the week as things start to really dry out there and temperatures cool to those upper 80s. If you're in Sun Valley, it's going to be good for you regardless tomorrow. You've got lower 80s, mid 80s continuing into your weekend. Gets a little bit hotter at the start of next week when we start to approach those lower 90s, but still pretty nice weather up there. If you need a break from the heat, that's going to be a good place to go. Now again, as we head into tomorrow, it's going to be the best day of the week. So we've got this one little hot day ahead of us with this upper 90s expected, upper 80s tomorrow. And then as we head into the week, and you'll notice temperatures, they do start to rise again towards that triple digit mark Sunday, Monday, and even Tuesday. So still prepare for the heat as we approach the next week. Make sure you're staying hydrated, stay cool, and take some shade breaks if you're spending some time outdoors. All right, we're going to go ahead and get you ready now for your morning commute.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:51 is now your time. We're giving you a look across the area. It's been pretty quiet this morning so far, but just taking a closer look at Carter Road. Still some stop and go as you make your way into that westbound lane if you're traveling there and crossing Middleton Road. Also on Caldwell Boulevard looking a little bit busier. We were looking at some stop and go on West State Street. Now that's cleared up, so it's pretty overall quiet morning. Again, it's still nice and early out there, so if you're looking for a good time to head out, Broadway Avenue looks to be also a quiet spot. We haven't noticed too much change yet, but I'll continue to keep my eyes on the road for you as we head through our morning together.
In this morning's GMA First Look, Maine murder mystery.
People are scared. They don't know what happened. Is someone out there? This type of homicide is very rare.
Authorities scouring this rural area of Maine east of Augusta, looking for clues about who murdered 48-year-old Sunshine Sunny Stewart. Stewart paddleboarding alone on Crawford Pond around 6 p.m. last Wednesday, but she never returned. Authorities say she was reported missing 6 hours later.
Last seen wearing a blue dry pack, a light-colored shirt. She is very experienced on the water with a paddleboard.
Her body found the next morning near what's called 100 Acre Island in the middle of the pond, accessible only by boat. The coroner ruling it a homicide. And coming up at 7 a.m., we'll have the latest on this urgent investigation. With your GMA First Look, I'm Matt Rivers, ABC News, New York.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Good Morning Idaho. We're starting to wrap things up here on a Wednesday morning at 6:55. And in case that we're following from our neighborhood reporters. The search for Travis Decker continues this morning. He's the man accused of murdering his 3 young daughters. And we spoke with a Caldwell woman who may have been the first person to see Decker here in Idaho. Don Nelson had that interview. Also, Bruno Elementary will remain open for now after a tense school board meeting last night, which ran past midnight. The Bruno Grandview School District Board voted to keep the elementary school open for the next year if staff can be secured. That is a big if. The school's fate uncertain for the following year. And in Caldwell, the City Council approved the Caldwell School District's request for student resource officers to return to school grounds. This follows threats on Caldwell schools this past year and a federal funding freeze to educational grants that have left Idaho schools scrambling for more money. Now, you can learn more about all of these stories and much more on our website, idahonews6.com.
Now, the Out the Door forecast, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors.
Hey everybody, 6:56 is your time, and as you head out, it is a cool start to our morning. You've got temperatures staying in those mid-70s by 9 a.m., leading you through the afternoon ahead. By 1 o'clock, we'll be touching into those lower 90s, so if you're thinking maybe some patio weather, get some shade if you are having lunch outdoors today. By the later evening, we'll be sitting in those upper 90s, so not as hot as yesterday, and we're not anywhere close to triple digits, but it's possible we could see them return into next week. If you want to read more about the forecast, head on over to idahonews6.com. Otherwise, let's get you ready to head on into work.
The Idaho News 6 traffic report is brought to you by Champion Windows.
6:57 is now your time, and hey, heads up if you're heading on the I-84 west of Middleton Road. Looks pretty quiet out there, so nice smooth commutes have been leading us into our past couple mornings. Hopefully it stays this way. It is getting a little bit busier on the I-84 right now, but again, it is 6:57, so it's not rush hour just yet. If you're heading on I-84 from Caldwell to Garrity, under 16 minutes. Garrity into Eagle just under 11, and Eagle into downtown coming in at under 7 minutes. So it's been pretty quiet on the roads, especially because everyone's getting back from holiday break, and I feel like also everyone's staying inside and staying home because it's so hot outside, Roland.
Yeah, there's no question about that. And you know, at the risk of tempting fate, usually this time of year we have smoke in the air, right? Because there's fires somewhere. We've been so lucky so far, and let's just hope, fingers crossed, that it stays that way, because we have lightning coming in today, right?
Yeah, we have that red flag warning in place from 3 o'clock to midnight. And like you said, this time last year, it looked a lot different outside. So fingers crossed it stays that way.
Yeah, because we don't need the air filled with smoke this time of year if we can avoid it. So be careful out there, everybody, with any sort of fire that you are taking care of. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you again tomorrow.